Hi, Dr. Pulsfer here to talk about some of the hard realities of game design, myth-busting in other words. These are sad truths, but a lot of people harbor the oddest ideas about game design. Now, in this particular case, I'm going to follow a Protospiel article, the list of the 6 items, not the actual text in any way, and it is a text article. There is where you can find the article. The author is not credited. Here's the list of 6 items, and I'll go through each one individually. The first myth: companies are looking for new ideas for games. While occasionally a toy idea will sell, in general, companies want completed products, whether it's games or toys, not ideas. Ideas are a dime a dozen and are often worthless. Why would you pay someone for an idea when you have completed games to choose from? Hundreds of completed games. The big companies especially. Hasbro accepts ideas, or rather games, from about 300 people. Otherwise, people have to go through agents who take a large fraction of any money that happens to be earned, and the agents weed out the bad stuff, the obviously bad stuff. Of course, game ideas cannot be protected by copyright or trademark, and patents are very, very expensive, over $10,000 altogether, and consequently it's not worth patenting anything because you probably won't make enough money out of it to pay for the patent. Number 2, your new idea will make you rich. Well, first, as I've said, ideas don't get you a dime. Moreover, the game industry is saturated with games, oversaturated if you will. What might have sold 90,000 copies 10 years ago now might sell 20,000. Typical sales are more in the under 1,000 range. Yes, there are many more game players than 10 years ago, but it's sales, not players, that count. And even though the amount of money spent on games has gone up, the pie has to be divided amongst hundreds of thousands of video games and more than 1,000 new tabletop games each year. The result is a few designers are independently wealthy, but only a few. Another myth is that it's relatively simple to make a game. People can't get away from the notion that games are kids' stuff, even though we're talking about adult games in general. There's a corrosive tendency these days to underestimate how difficult it is to do things of the mind, because people don't see it happening. If somebody is building a cabinet, you can see it happening, even though there's a lot that goes on in the mind too. If somebody is building software, you don't see it happen. And so there's a tendency to discount it. It's relatively simple to make a poor game, it's true, but it's far harder to make a good game, and especially a really good game. It's also very time consuming, especially if you're creating the software as well. Another myth: since your friends or your family love the game, everyone will. Well, no. Your friends and family are rarely going to be representative of the target audience. Moreover, your friends and family may be reluctant to hurt your feelings by telling you your game sucks. Moreover, when you're testing a game, no single small group can tell you how well your game will be received. You need to test it with lots of different groups of players. Your friends and family are not enough. Another myth: that your idea is completely original. Well, by original, what do we mean? It may be original to you, but that same idea has been probably used in a published game already, and hundreds if not thousands of people have got the same idea. There's nothing new under the sun. It's very, very rare to see a completely new idea in a game. I find that it's hard to convince people of this sometimes because they're so enthused about the idea that they have, but you can find many articles telling you that your ideas are almost entirely worthless no matter how original you think they are. That's just the reality. Myth: your idea could easily be stolen, so protect it at all costs. Possibly the clearest indication that an aspiring designer is clueless about the industry is their fear of someone stealing their idea. If ideas are worth so little, why would anyone steal yours? When theft occurs in games, which is pretty rare, it's theft of a game that has already been published successfully and people clone it. This is common in video games, not common in tabletop games. Also consider, sooner or later you have to test your ideas in a game. You have to play test. So you can't hide the idea forever. You might as well talk about it if you're serious about making a game and get feedback from other people. Nor are ideas protected by law unless you spend a vast amount of money for a patent, which is a bad idea. And even then, usually it won't help you. If you want to get rich or become famous or have an easy job, game design is not for you. Thanks for listening.